Welcome to a new video of a historical journey. Today, we present to you the history of house construction and the cultures involved in each one. Chapter 1. From the Paleolithic to Ancient Egypt. The history of home construction is fascinating and spans thousands of years of evolution. Over time, construction techniques have changed dramatically, from rudimentary dwellings to complex contemporary structures. Today, we will provide an overview of that history, connecting it to cultures and ways of life associated with different types of homes. Primitive dwellings in the Paleolithic and Neolithic eras, approximately 2.5 million to 10,000 years ago. In early times, humans used caves and natural shelters to protect themselves from the weather and predators. When our ancestors emerged as a species on Earth, they faced crucial challenges to their survival. In the absence of man-made structures, early humans ingeniously adapted to their environment. In this ancestral context, the choice of primitive shelters was crucial for safety and protection from the weather and threats from predators. The quest for protection led our ancestors to discover and use natural cavities in the earth, such as caves and rocky shelters, as their first shelters against the elements, from intense rains to scorching heat waves. Life in caves was linked to mobility. Nomadic communities followed animal migrations and seasons to ensure their food and resource supply. Subsistence depended on hunting, fishing, and gathering wild foods. Proximity to bodies of water and areas with abundant wildlife was crucial. Rudimentary tools made of stone, wood, and bone were used for hunting, gathering, and preparing food. Life in small groups facilitated task distribution and collaboration in hunting and gathering. Caves were often associated with rituals and ceremonies. Cave wall paintings and engravings suggested artistic expressions and possibly spiritual beliefs. These communities left evidence of artistic and technical skills. Decorative objects and utensils reflecting a certain level of sophistication have been found. The control of fire marked a significant milestone in human evolution. The use of fire played an essential role in primitive forms of life. Here are some crucial roles of fire in these forms of life. Fire provided essential warmth, especially during cold nights or in seasons with extreme temperatures. This significantly improved living conditions inside caves and rocky shelters. Moreover, the ability to light fires offered illumination in the darkness of caves, enhancing visibility and enabling essential nocturnal activities such as food preparation and tool making. On the other hand, keeping fires near resting places helped ward off wild animals, providing an additional level of safety to communities. The smoke produced by fire was used as a primitive form of signaling to communicate with other distant communities. It could also be used to indicate dangers or important events. The use of fire not only provided practical and utilitarian benefits, but also contributed to the cognitive and cultural development of prehistoric human communities, shaping how communities interacted with their environment and with each other. Over time, some communities began to establish more permanent settlements, gradually moving away from a completely nomadic life. This marked a crucial step toward the domestication of plants and animals. In the Neolithic era, spanning from 3000 to 6000 BCE, with the emergence of agriculture, communities began to settle in one place. Houses evolved into more permanent structures made of natural materials such as mud and wood. Before agriculture, communities were mainly nomadic, following animals and gathering food. With the domestication of plants and animals, people could settle in one place, ushering in sedentism. Cultivating crops and breeding animals required a long-term commitment to the same land. This led to the establishment of permanent communities, with constructions reflecting a greater investment of time and effort. Agriculture led to the development of land ownership. Communities began to claim and demarcate specific areas for agriculture and housing, establishing early concepts of territoriality. The need to protect crops and animals led to the construction of warehouses and stables, contributing to the diversification of housing structures. communities began to use more durable natural materials to build their homes. Mud and wood were locally accessible resources, suitable for constructing more permanent structures. Furthermore, sedentism allowed for the development of more complex social structures. Agricultural communities could have a more sophisticated division of labor, with specialized roles in agriculture, construction, and other trades. Settling in one place allowed for the construction of communal infrastructures, such as wells and irrigation systems. These improvements in resource management contributed to the growth and stability of communities. They began to actively modify the landscape, creating cultivated fields and planned residential areas. The transition to agriculture marked a turning point in human history, giving rise to fundamental changes in social organization, architecture, land ownership, and the relationship with the environment. The stability provided by agriculture paved the way for the development of more complex civilizations over time. The Sumerian civilization, one of the earliest known civilizations of ancient Mesopotamia, flourished around 4,500 BCE in the region that is now southern Iraq. The lifestyle and constructions of the Sumerians in Mesopotamia reveal fascinating aspects of their society and technological achievements. Sumerian houses were primarily constructed with sun-dried mud bricks, a mixture of clay and straw. This material was abundant and easy to work with, allowing the Sumerians to efficiently build structures. The bricks were joined with mud and sun-dried, creating sturdy walls. Although the bricks were sun-dried, the quality of construction was such that some structures have endured to this day. Sumerian houses were generally modest in size, with rooms arranged around an inner courtyard. This design provided shade and a central area for family activities. The use of sun-dried bricks allowed for the construction of multi-story buildings, although most Sumerian houses were single-story. Houses often had flat terrace roofs used as additional areas for daily activities. These terraces also provided shade and were accessible via external stairs. The Sumerians implemented primitive sewage systems in their homes. Houses were equipped with drainage facilities and channels to dispose of wastewater and prevent flooding. As the Sumerian civilization progressed, more elaborate architectural elements such as arches and columns were introduced. These features were incorporated into public buildings and temples. Sumerian houses had doors and windows used for ventilation and allowing in light. Windows were small and often located near the top of the walls to provide privacy and security. Houses had storage areas for food and goods. The Sumerians developed techniques for storing and preserving food, enabling them to manage agricultural surpluses. Although not residential, the Sumerians also built ziggurats, stepped structures with temples at the top, which became iconic in Mesopotamian architecture. The architectural ingenuity of the Sumerians, coupled with their ability to manage the environment and leverage available resources, contributed to the creation of permanent settlements and agricultural systems that sustained life in ancient Mesopotamia. The architectural and technological legacy of the Sumerians influenced later civilizations in the region and beyond. In ancient Egypt, approximately 4,000 years ago, Egyptians constructed houses using mud and adobe bricks. Dwellings for the higher classes included more elaborate materials such as stone and wood. In ancient Egypt, the construction of homes reflected both socio-economic conditions and architectural preferences of different social classes. The diversity in the choice of building materials visually testified to the existing social stratification in Egyptian society. Mud and adobe bricks were fundamental materials in the construction of homes in ancient Egypt, especially in rural areas and among the more modest social classes. The higher classes and Egyptian aristocracy had access to a broader range of building materials, allowing them to erect more durable and aesthetically elaborate structures. Egyptians employed stone, especially limestone and granite, to build temples, monuments, and tombs. These more imposing buildings were characteristic of Egyptian monumental architecture and required highly specialized craftsmanship. Homes of the higher classes incorporated wooden elements in their construction, such as beams, columns, and paneling. Wood, though scarce in ancient Egypt, was reserved for structures of higher status and prestige. Additionally, homes of the higher classes featured more complex designs, often with multiple stories, inner courtyards, and elaborate architectural details. These structures reflected the opulence and social standing of their owners. They were also adorned with decorative elements such as carved reliefs, mural paintings, and more refined furniture. These details contributed to the luxurious ambience of these residences. Homes of the higher classes were strategically located in urban areas and close to administrative and cultural centers, demonstrating their connection to power and the ruling elite. The construction of homes in ancient Egypt was intrinsic to the social and economic hierarchy of the time. While mud and adobe bricks were common in the homes of more modest classes, the higher classes had resources to use more sophisticated materials like stone and wood. This dichotomy in materials and architecture reflected social disparities and stratification in ancient Egyptian society. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. If you'd like to support the channel, you can contribute through Patreon. See you in Chapter 2, covering from ancient Greece to the Renaissance. Greetings, and until the next historical journey,